You need to know what kind of pipes your house has before you put it on the market, or you may be setting yourself up for some major frustration. Hi, I'm Chuck Vosberg from Next Home Gulf to Bay, along with my wife Pat. We're your favorite realtors, and today I'd like to talk with you about pipes in your house. Now, the pipes we're going to talk about today are supply lines. These are the pipes that bring water into the house and throughout the house. And there are four basic types of supply lines for water in a house. So we're going to go through them, pros and cons of each. I'll tell you what kind of problems you're going to run into if you have these certain kinds. And also, I'm going to give you some advice on how to deal with this problem if you find out you do have any of the ones that are bad. And I'll give you an example of somebody who thought they were going to have a $10,000 repipe job and how we found out they didn't need a repipe job at all. So stick with me on this. It's got a lot of good information for you. So first of all, we'll start off with galvanized pipe. Galvanized metal pipe is generally considered bad. And the problem with galvanized pipe is that it rusts from the inside out. So you can't tell by looking at it how quickly it's going to fail. And rest assured, it will fail sooner or later. Now, usually, what happens is as it rusts on the inside, it restricts the flow of water. But it happens so slowly over time that homeowners really don't notice that the water flow is reducing over time. And as it rusts on the inside, from the inside out, when it finally gets to a certain point, the pipe's going to fail. And when pipes fail, that's bad news for a house. As a result, homes that have galvanized pipes generally cannot obtain homeowners insurance. Homeowners insurance does not like galvanized pipe, and it's for obvious reasons, because it can fail at any time, and of course when it does fail, it usually fails spectacularly. Galvanized pipe was commonly used, at least here in Florida where we live, up until the 1960s. So if you have a house that was built prior to the 1960s, there's a possibility you have galvanized pipe. Now, another kind of metal pipe that's commonly used is copper pipe. Copper pipe is awesome. It lasts a very long time. Now, it doesn't last forever, but it lasts a long time. The original reason why it was so popular is because copper has some antibacterial properties to it, and it doesn't tend to get corroded on the inside like the steel pipes do. And it's expensive, though. So that's one of the reasons why copper pipes kind of fell out of favor, because copper is very expensive. And it was replaced by cheaper alternatives that are considered to be just as good. So copper kind of replaced galvanized after the 1960s. So if you've got 1960s, and we've seen them right on up to through the 80s and 90s being used in residences. So copper pipe is very good. You're not going to have a problem with insurance with copper pipe. Now, as we move along, another kind of pipe, we get into plastic pipe, PVC and CPVC. These kind of pipes are good. They're considered safe and reliable. They last a very long time. I want you to know, as we're going through this, I'm not a licensed plumbing contractor. And if you have any questions, or maybe if you're a licensed plumbing contractor and I say anything that isn't quite correct, let me know in the comments. But if you've got questions on this about your specific house, rely on the word of a licensed professional. I'm just giving you general information here just for your information so you can be aware of it. Now, there's two other kinds of plastic pipe. One of them is polybutylene pipe, and then the other one is polyethylene, which is also known as PEX, P-E-X. They look similar, but one is bad, one is good. So we'll start off with the bad one. Polybutylene pipes are usually gray, although they did come in other colors, and they're a lot more flexible. You can bend them pretty easy. So these pipes were commonly used for a short time, but the problem is they discovered that the chemicals in the plastic started escaping from the plastic into the water, and these are harmful chemicals that people shouldn't be ingesting. So this polybutylene pipe, if you have that in your house, it's going to need to be repiped. They're not going to give you insurance on a house that has this dangerous polybutylene piping. Now, polyethylene, on the other hand, also known as PEX pipe, That's known to be safe and effective. It's very popular. It's very easy to install. It's kind of semi-rigid. It's not real easy to bend, but it is bendy. And usually it comes in white, red, or blue. It's kind of popular to use red and blue because then it's very easy to determine which one is the hot and which one's the cold water supply. So these different kinds of pipes all have pluses and minuses to them, as you might imagine. But the ones you really have to watch out for are galvanized and polybutylene. Those are the two that are going to give you trouble. So if you think you have those kinds of pipes, have a licensed contractor take a look at it and evaluate it. So now here's the good news. I'll give you an example. We had a house recently that we put on the market for somebody. Well, the inspector found some galvanized pipe. So they declared that the whole house was plumbed with galvanized pipe and it totally needed to be replumbed. It was going to be a big $10,000 job. We had a plumbing contractor come in and they said, well, yep, that is indeed galvanized. You got to replumb the whole house. But we were suspicious because we know this area. We know the houses, when they were built and when certain things were made. So we got permission from the seller to break out a part of the wall in an inconspicuous spot. And sure enough, the house was plumbed with copper. But what it had was where the pipe sticks out of the wall, that's called a stub out. The parts where it stuck through the wall, for some reason, those were galvanized. So we had these little short pieces of galvanized that stuck through the drywall, but behind it was all copper. All the pipe coming into the house from the street, copper. So we saved that person $10,000 by busting a little hole and investigating it a little bit further. So that's one of those things where, again, don't just take somebody's word for it right off the bat. Make sure it's thoroughly investigated. Because in this case, that was a $10,000 difference to that seller. And it was just fortunate that it happened to be a house where we knew the neighborhood really well and knew it would be worth cutting a little hole in the wall. So anyway, if you have any questions about it, give Pat or I a call. If you have specific questions about the kind of pipe in your house, we can recommend a good plumber for you and have someone come out and evaluate it. And if you have any other questions, of course, you just let us know. We put humans over houses. Ask us anything, we'll tell you anything you want to know. No strings attached. So I hope you got something out of the video today. Thank you so much for watching, and you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.